We start in Kenya, where at least 17 children have died after a fire swept through a primary school. Over 70 others are currently unaccounted for. Some children are thought to have been taken in by local residents, and officials are asking them to come forward. An investigation has been launched, but the cause of the fire is not yet known.
Parents gather outside the primary school the morning after a fire killed sleeping students. Many still don't know if their children made it out of the dormitory alive and described waiting for news as torture. Firefighters struggled to reach the school after rain turned the roads around it into mud. Local residents were left to try and rescue the children from the blaze.
We saw several children in there that had been burnt. I was just lucky to save one of them, but I heard that he later died. It was a very troubling and sad tragedy.
Officials are working to try and locate the missing. Kenya's deputy president said dozens of children are still unaccounted for.
I'm appealing to each and every parent who took their child from here to report the scene. We'll give a number that is here by the International Red Cross and the school so that we know where that child is.
The country's interior minister visited the school on Friday and said there will be full accountability for this tremendous loss of life. The Kenyan Red Cross is at the scene and said it's offering psychological support services for pupils and teachers. And for the families waiting for the news, nobody wants to hear.
For more now, I want to cross over to our correspondent, Felix Moringa in Nairobi. Felix, tell us more about what happened last night.
So the fire broke at about 11 p.m. At this time, most of the pupils are usually asleep, so many of them were caught unawares. Neighbors within the community were the first responders, but the magnitude of the fire was so huge that they had to call for backup, which came 3 hours later. The backup was a little bit late because by the time the fire was put out at about 3 a.m., 17 kids had already died and 14 others badly injured.
We are hearing that dozens of children are still missing. What can you tell us about them?
So when the fire was raging, one of the person who was doing rescue was saying that he was finding some of the kids hiding under the beds. Some of the kids in the rage of the fire decided to jump over the fence and go to the neighboring houses and within the community to just be housed. So they are still missing, but the deputy president has asked any parent who took their kid earlier today to just report to the school so that they can be able to have a full tally of the children who are missing and those who are completely unaccounted for. The police spokesperson has said that those kids that were found dead were burnt beyond recognition, so they are not also leaving out the possibility of finding more kids still buried under the debris.
And talk to me, Felix, about the reaction in Kenya to this story.
So many Kenyans have been sending their condolence messages to the families of those who lost their loved ones. Parents flocked the school early this morning. There were sad faces throughout the day trying to come to terms with what had transpired within the school. President William Ruto has also sent his condolence messages to the families and wished those who are rushed to hospital a speedy recovery. He's also asked the investigative officers to expedite the investigation process, which now the deputy president has said the report would be made public so that everyone can know what caused the fire. The Kenya Red Cross has also been offering psychosocial support to the parents and some of the kids who are trying to come to terms with what happened.
School fires are unfortunately not uncommon in Kenya. Why is that?
sadly, most of the fires in the past were caused due to arsons, electrical malfunctions, or even personal negligence. That is not what happened in this particular case, because the investigators are yet to announce what happened. But all this caused the Ministry of Education to come up with guidelines such as dormitories where the kids sleep must have 2 or more exits. The windows should not have grills. They should have fire assembly points, and the fire extinguishers should be active and serviced so that they can be able to respond to a fire. Sadly, the government has not been very keen on ensuring that these particular measures are enforced. Now, education stakeholders have today called on the government to ensure that all of these guidelines are enforced and nothing will be left unattended, so that in the future, such tragedies where 17 kids and 14 others badly injured will not happen again in the country.
Yeah. Our correspondent Felix Marinho with the latest tonight. Felix, as always, thank you.